All right. Welcome, everyone. I still see a few folks trickling in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're excited to see that we have another fairly large group here today, so excited to see that there's a lot of interest in this program. Today, I'll be talking about a new program coming out of the National Science Foundation called Translation to Practice, or TTP for short. My name is Mara Schindelholz, and I'm a program director here within the Technology Innovation and Partnerships Directorate, or the TIP Directorate. I'm here with a fellow program director, Samir Iqbal. We will be tag teaming the presentation today. Sorry, go ahead, Samir, if you wanted to say any few words. Okay. But we'll be tag teaming the presentation today. I'll be doing the first half, and Samir will be doing the second half. When we're not presenting, we'll be trying to answer any questions that you may have throughout the webinar in the Q&A. So feel free, if you have questions as we go, to put those in the Q&A. We should have time at the end. Hopefully we've reserved plenty of time to also answer verbally any of those questions that you may have about the program. So the main goals of the TTP program are to provide funding to researchers at academic institutions and nonprofit institutions to help them translate their foundational or basic research to practice. So what do we mean by that? So to help them take, or to help you take, those great discoveries and inventions that you may have and translate that into action, to apply those discoveries and inventions to real world use cases and challenges, and to move them along that technology maturation pathway to eventual products and solutions that can benefit those applications. Along this technology maturation pathway, hopefully as the PI, you'll be developing partnerships and collaborations with outside entities, preferably outside of academic institutions, so things like industry, government agencies, philanthropies, nonprofits, that will really help you understand what are those customer needs or opportunities or those real world use cases that I could apply my discovery or invention to. Another goal of our program is to promote advanced education and training of students and postdoc researchers in innovation entrepreneurship and help them see that that technology maturation pathway from the basic research side to the eventual products and solutions that can benefit society. So there are three main tracks associated with the TTP program: the Explore, Translate, and Partner tracks. I'll start with the Explore track first. So this is really focused on the basic research where you may not have yet applied that basic research or those innovations or inventions that you have to a specific use case. So the Explore track would provide that funding for you to now go out and perform some of those early use-inspired research activities or initial translation activities. So the Explore is awarded as a supplement to an active eligible NSF Basic Research Award. So that is a main basic requirement, that you do have an NSF Basic Research Award, and you must have approximately greater than 1 year left on your award. The Translate phase is now in the middle, where you have that basic research, you've now applied it to a specific use case, and you have some early data around that specific use case. And so the funding that we provide would help you to further mature that idea, iterate, and improve the solution. For both the Translate and the Partner tracks, you do not have to have prior federal funding. Specifically, you do not have to have prior NSF funding. For both tracks, Translate and Partnership or Partner, if you're awarded, you will participate in the NSF I-Core program. Now the Partner track. So the Partner track will fulfill all of the same functions as the Translate track. However, at this stage, not only have you that kind of early use-inspired data, but you also really have a pretty good understanding of what are the market opportunities and the community needs. Because as the title tells you, the partner, as part of this program, you will have a partner on your award. So you'll have a partnership with an outside entity. So this is a requirement. They will either be a co-PI on your award, or they'll be listed as a senior key personnel. And this outside entity or this outside partnership will be an individual or entity that is really engaged and interested in the success and translation of your technology into some sort of product or solution. So these are the three tracks in terms of the funding and the duration. So for the Explore track, that can be up to $600K in funding with a duration of up to 24 months. The Translate is up to 1.2 million with a duration of 36 months, up to 36 months. The Partner is up to $2 million and with a duration of up to 48 months. So again, the Explore track is awarded as a supplement, so it will be a 12 to 24 month extension on your current NSF Basic Research Award. For the Translate and Partner tracks, I just want to emphasize again, there's no NSF lineage required for those two tracks. And one track is not a prerequisite for another. So we're trying to meet folks where they're at in terms of the technology maturity. So you're welcome to apply for the Explore track if you have that NSF Basic Research Award and you're looking to perform some use-inspired activities. However, if you're further along and already have a partner that you're working on with the technology, you're welcome to apply for the partner track. In terms of the anticipated funding, we are anticipating about $10 million that will be for each track individually. So a bit more now on that Explore track. As I said, you must have an active NSF Basic Research Award, and this is awarded as a supplement on that Basic Research Award. So what are we looking for? We're looking for folks that have shown exceptional progress in the Research Award thus far, as exhibited through approximately 1 to 2 annual reports that have been approved, evidence in the reports as well as from the Cognizant Program Director associated with that award. Your Basic Research Award should have at least 1 year remaining. So this does exclude awards that are on no-cost extensions. The supplement, as I mentioned, it will result in extension of your initial award for a period up to 2 years. Awards that are not eligible to receive TTPE funds include Eager, Rapid, and RAISE awards. We're also looking, as it says in the solicitation, to help those Basic Research Awards provide and give them some initial translation funds. So we're really looking to fund small team Basic Research Awards versus research awards that come in as larger scale teams like ERCs or IUCRCs, just as an example. Some types of activities that could be supported include maturation of technology readiness levels. So again, maybe some data around a specific use case, maybe an initial prototype, supportive of things like student internships with collaborations with industries or other entities, or things like engagement in open source products design and implementation. While partnerships are certainly encouraged under the Explore track, they are not required. So the Explore track application process. As a first step, we are encouraging folks to please reach out to your Cognizant Program Director. So this is a program director that's associated with your NSF Basic Research Award to discuss your proposed project. We're asking folks to hold off on that if you can to around the early October timeframe so that just we get over the end of the FY and give folks time to process all the requests for the end of the FY. After you've talked to your Cognizant Program Director and they've provided their input and they have provided their approval, you can go ahead and spit to them a 3 to 5 page description of the future translational activities. We have provided internal guidance to the NSF program directors around what specifically should be in that 3 to 5 page description. A highlight is included in the slide, so things like details of the research to be pursued, opportunity or the gap that the technology would address, role of partners and students, that sort of thing. But we want to have the program officer be the one that provides you with a detailed outline of what you would put in that 3 to 5 page description. Once you have that ready, you will then provide that to the Cognizant NSF program officer, as well as the translation@nsf.gov email address, which will go to the TTP program directors for approval of the Explore proposal. Unfortunately, we do have limited funding, so we are anticipating that we're going to get more requests than we can fund. So there will unfortunately be declines and we will not be able to fund everyone. However, if you do receive approval of your request for a Explore track supplement, you would then go ahead in that second step. And so you'd receive approval from your Cognizant program officer to submit a special creativity extension via the supplement funding request and research.gov. You won't be submitting a 15-page proposal, but the proposal would include the 3 to 5 page research description that you would have already put together and a copy of the email invitation. Now a bit more on the Translate track, and just to reiterate some things around that. Again, you don't have to have prior NSF funding for the Translate or partner tracks, but it does begin with existing evidence of use-inspired research. That can be evidence that is in the literature, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It can be data or figures that you just provide in the proposal as well. So types of activities that could be supported include things like designing and iterating prototypes. Again, partnerships are encouraged certainly, but not required for the Translate track. And then lastly, during the Translate track, if you are awarded a Translate award, you would participate in NSF I-Core if funded. If in the proposal, you're able to show evidence that you have completed the National I-Corps training within the last 2 years for the technology that you are proposing, you may be eligible for a waiver that will be granted by the program director if you go on to receive an award. So there are two types of partnerships that are defined in the solicitation. We have NSF direct partnerships and NSF catalyzed partnerships. NSF direct partnerships are partnerships at the NSF level. So NSF working with outside entities, be it government, industry, nonprofit, international organizations. And we are working with those outside entities to co-fund opportunities for technologies or research that would be very applicable to a specific government entity. So for example, DoD. These partnerships will be formalized through a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, or other signed agreements. And the call for these types of technologies will be outlined in Dear Colleague letters and will be advertised in future webinars when we have them. The other type of partnership that's described in the solicitation are the NSF catalyzed partnerships. So these are the required partnerships for the partner track. So these are PI-initiated partnerships with individuals or outside entities. And again, these are entities that have some sort of skin in the game, right? They're interested in you being successful in translating your invention or discovery into an actual product or solution. And they can provide some sort of value, be it understanding around the customer need or requirements. Maybe it's data that they can provide. It can be in the form of both paid or unpaid agreements. PIs and partners are responsible themselves for entering into the agreements, and the types of entities that we would entertain for things like this include industry partners, government entities, international organizations. I will note, because there's a question around international organizations, that would be an unpaid agreement. We would not be able to send funding to an international organization. And again, while the Explore and Translate tracks really encourage partnerships, the partner track and specifically requires an NSF catalyzed partnership and strongly prioritizes a non-academic partner. So a bit more about the partner track. I think I've covered a lot of this as well already, but just some of the types of activities that could be supported, things like scaling up, mass production of products, work around development of standards, that sort of thing. And again, just to reiterate, NSF I-Corps teams, if you're funded under the partner track, would be required. I just want to mention on the partners again, the catalyzed partners, they're providing some sort of value to you, to the project. They want to help. Without them, you would not be able to as quickly accelerate the translation of your technology. A partner is not a service provider or a vendor. And as it says here, they will bring complementary expertise and resources. With that, I'm going to skip over or hand it over now to Samir.
Thank you, Mara. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I've been trying to address questions as Mara was talking. So please read the answers that have already been provided. So your question may already been addressed. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of the proposal. So TTP proposal requires certain subjects, certain sections in the proposal. So many cases, if you have written proposal, you may be following PAPG, PAPPG, but in this case, we require for a 15-page proposal to have these specific sections in it. And in that way, these instructions deviate from and take precedence over the guidance that are given in PAPG, PAPPG. And in this section, number 7, if you have a prior NSF award, we would like you to, and especially if that was on translational work or collaboration with strategic translation partners, we would like you to talk about that and outcomes that were that came out of the prior NSF support. In the budget, we have few things that you will have to adhere to. The travel is restricted for year 2, and that's meant for the PI meeting for the awardees. And you can read more on that in the solicitation. We are also allowing the applicants to put money for patenting expenses or patenting related expenses as well, which is uncommon. So hence there are specific things which are very very much related to TTP solicitation. And if your team has not done ICOS teams, and that's where we require, if a team has done it, then you would request a waiver for ICORs, and that waiver should be for an ICO team's work, or what we call ICO's national work, which was specifically focused on the subject of the technology that you are proposing in your TTP proposal. And it has to be done within last 2 years. If you qualify, you can ask for waiver. If not, then you would have to budget $50,000 for ICOs in year one. A little bit more on the patenting expenses. This is meant to defray the cost of IP protection, and the lead team, the lead institution of higher education that's applying for TTP can put that money in their budget, which can be used for a bunch of things: to pay for the tech transfer office folks' time to do the assessment, to do whatever they do in their own due diligence, and to pay the fee for patenting expenses, and that can be third party as well. On the uh, specifics of supplementary documents, and we know the many proposals, they ask for letters of support, and on the next slide we will talk about what kind of letters are allowed and what are not allowed. So the letter of support, which in general talk about a proposal's strength and all the good things, they are not allowed. But what are required are letters of collaboration. So letters of collaboration come from your partners. Anyone that you have named in the proposal that's going to be working with you, it can be funded or unfunded. We would require a detailed letter on their official letterhead to come with the proposal. So, and that would help the reviewers, the panels, to see what is the nature of collaboration, what are the expected outcomes, what is the value the partner is bringing to the table. Every NSF proposal requires a data management and sharing plan. So in case of TTP, that data management plan has to have certain aspects which are different from a typical research proposal. And here we would like to see your plans for protection of IP, your plan to how would you work with your partners, and just to address the potential commercial, economic, and other benefits that would come out of your partnership. We have deadlines for 2 tracks throughout the year. September 16 is coming up, January 20th, next year, May 19, and then first Tuesday in September, first Tuesday in January, first Tuesday in May. TTP Explore has no deadline, but right now we are not taking in because we don't have the budget. The program just got rolled out, so next fiscal year, once we get our budget, then we will be accepting. And Mara went over the process of how to get started on TTP Explore. But once fully functional, there'll be no deadline for TTP E track. Now, on the eligibility, 2 and 4 year institutions of higher education, and including community colleges, even accredited in and having a campus in the United States, they are eligible to apply for TTP. In addition, nonprofit, non-academic US organizations which are directly involved with educational or research activities are also eligible to apply. And those can be museums, observatories, research labs, a whole bunch of organizations that can fit the requirement of the second type. They are also eligible to apply for TTP program. There are restrictions, there are two, we know tenured and tenure track professors, faculty are generally eligible to apply. In addition, we are also open for primary full-time paid employees that are working in a research or a teaching position. So they are also eligible to apply. The only restriction is that for any individual, they can have one TTP proposal in process. So until you get a decision, decline or award, you cannot apply for another concurrent, for another deadline or same deadline. So at any time, you cannot have more than one proposal in process. And on collaborative proposal, so this is a specific term that some of you may be familiar with, where multiple institutions apply directly to NSF and they link their proposals together, what we call linked collaborative proposals. They are not allowed, which means there will be only one proposal that will be submitted by lead or what we call prime institution, and then rest of the organizations will be subcontractor on with that lead institution. So linked collaborative proposals will not be allowed. We do have merit review criteria, which is listed in solicitation. So two aspects of them, those are across NSF, intellectual merit and broader impact. So intellectual merit broadly speaks about should this be done, which is more about the significance, novelty, and potential impact of the proposed work and its expected contributions within and across disciplines. And the other question is broadly, can this be done, where you would or the reviewers will look at the research plan, the expertise, track record, feasibility of approach, the availability of resources, and quality of your data management and mentoring plans, and if the budget is appropriate. Under the broader impact, the it is more about if this work is goes through all the efforts, would this have activities that would benefit society or advance desired societal impacts, which would create a transformative nature of concepts, and how would it strengthen taxpayers or US economy, workforce. So qualification of individuals and teams is also major part of what we call broader impact. Now, on top of that, there is solicitation specific review criteria, which is TTP specific review criteria, which is motivated by identifying an unmet need that has significant societal or economic impact. And then how would you take it through the technical barriers, the different goals, milestones, and is there a realistic vision for the solution, which can be a prototype, which can be a maybe policy change, can be the expected outcome can be a startup itself. So in those, is that plan realistic to get the team towards there? What are the compliance issues, scalability issues, IP issues? So those would all be part of research motivation and development of solutions. The other two TTP specific review criteria would be about the team. Do you have the right team to carry out that translational work, to provide, is the team bringing complementary resources to have a valuable technical and professional outcome? And would there be team members, student, postdoc, would they have opportunities to have growth, to learn things beyond academia, beyond academics, and those, and especially the partnerships, we are important to see if those partners are bringing additional value to the project. And when we say to the project, if they are vendors, if they are service providers, they are not valid partners, but partners are bringing complementary expertise and resources, and their vested interest is in catalyzing or accelerating the technology translation. And we strongly suggest to look beyond your own startup to be a partner in this case, and that a team would be much more valuable if they all are contributing to the project. Now, we have received many inquiries how to apply. There are solicitation defines the process. Again, there are 3 deadlines throughout the year. TTP does not have a deadline, but we ask you to talk to your Cognizant program officer, copy us on translation@nsf.gov, and we can provide you more guidance on how to prepare and what to do about TTP-E track. And TTP-T and P are standard proposal submission processes with on research.gov. We will now address some of the concerns we have heard since our last webinar, since the program has been launched. And Lamara, do you want to talk about TTP-E questions and concerns that we have?
Yep, so we've gotten a lot of questions around eligibility of certain types of NSF awards and whether they're eligible for TTPE. So as I hopefully tried to emphasize earlier, we're targeting small team basic research awards. So folks and PIs who've never had translational funding prior to this. So large-scale NSF awards, things like IUCRC, ERC, would not be eligible or would not be high priority for us since we're anticipating a large number of inquiries in terms of TTPE. Also, RAISE grants and the other ones that I mentioned earlier are also ineligible for TTPE. In terms of no cost extension, we are asking for greater than or approximately greater than 1 year left on your award. This is really to give everyone enough time to submit the necessary documentation for us to review and make decisions, since again, we're anticipating we're not going to be able to fund nearly all of the inquiries that we get. So we are placing an emphasis on awards that are not under no cost extension currently. And then I'll turn it back over for Samir for the other 2.
Yeah, so we have seen many questions about partners, and I've addressed some of those in the Q&A pan there as well. One question is about international partners. International partnerships are allowed. The only caveat is the NSF money cannot go to non-US entities or individuals. Otherwise, we encourage for the teams to have international partnerships. Another question has been about startups or the team or the professor or PI's own startup as a partner. So SPR, STTR is a big program at NSF and many other agencies. In any startup that's SPR, STTR eligible business, they are allowed to ask a sub-award as NSF catalyzed partners, but TTP program is or cannot be construed to serve as a meaningful source of funding for your own startup companies, or as a mean to complement or circumvent their own ability or eligibility to apply for programs like SPR, STTR. And as I said in a slide before, the partner is that, or the team or folks are who would bring value, additional value to the project, to the team, and they should bring complementary expertise and resources to catalyze the technology translation. A startup is a very meaningful outcome of TTP activity, and it's one of those expected outcomes that we would like to see coming out of TTP work. On another question we have heard is from about FFRDCs. So yes, they are eligible to be partners, but again, it has to be a very strong rationale given FFRDCs have their own investment or own budget from the federal government. And but it depends on your situation, your proposal, and how well you can justify taking money from one federal organization and expecting that to go to another federal organization. It's allowed, but it has to be well justified. There is question about I-Course. I-Core is required for the teams that have not done I-Course before. And they have to justify the to satisfy the requirement that the previously done I-Core work was focused on the same technology and it was done within last 2 years. If you do that, then it would be possible for us to waive the requirement. We have got question about what is I-Core. So I-Core is a separate program run by TIP Directorate, and I can share the link. It has its own requirement, and once, if and when a team gets an award, they will have to work with I-Course management to learn about the program, the requirements. But that would be something, if you are writing proposal and you anticipate you have to do I-Core, it would be better if you know what I-Core requires. I just shared a tiny link for I-Core's team's solicitation at NSF. All right. So yeah, these are links to our page, and this is where the recording from today would be also posted on our YouTube channel, NSF YouTube channel. And then there is we have shared our email address, and we will also post additional webinars as they come up on our program webpage.